Hey everyone, and welcome back. I have a cooking video to share with you guys today. We are actually going to be using our pressure cooker today. The pressure cooker is something that I think is a great kitchen tool. I would say it's almost as necessary as like a crock pot, because many times there's great crock pot recipes, but you might be in a time crunch and not have 8 hours to let it cook all day long. So you can throw it in the pressure cooker and it'll be done in like an hour and a half, which is what we're doing here with a pot roast. So I just have, I think this is like a 3-pound pot roast, maybe 2.5-pound pot roast that I have thawed out. I washed it off or rinsed it off, and then I just patted it dry and put salt and pepper on it. And then in my crock pot, I turned it onto the brown setting. If you don't have an actual like browning button, check out the manual that comes with your crock pot, because mine is actually the brown rice setting is what you use to brown things. So I have about a tablespoon of olive oil in there, and what I'm going to do is just place the pot roast in there, seasoned side down to brown up. So you can hear it going. Okay, so I have carrots out, I have potatoes, and then I'll have to get an onion. So with the carrots, I'm just going to slice them, peel them and then chunk them up. I just have a garbage bowl here that has, is what I actually use to thaw the meat out, so I'm just going to peel them over that bowl. Okay, now that I have my carrots peeled, I'm going to go ahead and chop them up. I'm going to chop them into, here, let's find a knife. Chop them into like this size pieces. These bigger chunks I will cut in half. Okay, so the roast has been going for about 4 or 5 minutes now, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and brown the other side. And as you can see there, it's nice and brown on the first side. About 2 more carrots, just because I don't know that I have enough quite yet. Like I said, we like a lot of vegetables. I have a few of my red potatoes. You can use any type of potato you like. I just like using the red potatoes because they cook up really easily and you don't have to peel them. Just like a thin-skinned yellow potato would be great too. So I'm probably going to do 5 potatoes and see where that leads us. So I'm going to rinse these off and get them chopped up as well. Half, and then in half again. And maybe put them in thirds. And just go ahead and add them right to the pile of onion, or right to the pile of carrots. And then the last vegetable we have to do is an onion, and this is just a yellow onion. And this is merely just for flavor. We'll probably eat the onion, but I don't even really watch it very well. I just quarter it, and then that'll just get thrown in there for flavor, like I said. So now so now we're gonna go ahead and add in 3 cups of stock. I'm really just gonna eyeball this. If you want to do straight measurements, go right ahead. But I know my box has 4 cups in it, so we'll do just shy of the whole box. Probably that. And then a half a cup of red wine. This is just our homemade red. This is a drier Napa wine. Any red wine that's not super sweet, probably on the drier side would be good. And I'm just going to eyeball in a half cup as well. Okay. And then I always do this. I just leave an open bottle right by my stove, and I add it to different like vegetables and that sort of thing. And then what we're going to do is close up the lid. And then this is going to go on high for 35 minutes. So it's going to take a little bit longer than 35 minutes because it has to build up pressure, and then you have to release pressure to get it to open. So it does take a little bit longer than the exact time on it. I actually went to 36, but that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead with that, and we're gonna let it do its thing, and then in 35 minutes we will come back and I will show you guys the next steps. Okay, so it has passed the 35 minutes. There's a closer to probably 45 minutes. And I have turned the exhaust, I guess is what you consider it, so that it can release all the pressure. And then once that's done, I'll be able to open it up and add the rest of the ingredients. So while that's emptying, I wouldn't do this someplace where you like don't want a ton of steam, because there's clearly a ton of steam going on in this situation. But I'm going to go ahead and gather the rest of my ingredients, and then I'll share with you guys the rest of the process. Okay, so next we are going to put in the rest of the vegetables. The recipe calls for 3 cloves of crushed garlic. I'm going to go with like a little over a tablespoon maybe of garlic. And then all of these vegetables are going to go in there, but I need 2 hands to do that, so I will check it back in with you guys when they're in. Okay, the last of the veggies are going in. I just threw them kind of right on top. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more salt and pepper, and then a little bit of thyme. I don't have fresh thyme, so we are just going to go with dried, because that's what I have. Maybe. Yeah. That's what I have, is just dried. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit, not a ton, maybe like a half a teaspoon of that, and then some fresh salt and pepper, and then we're going to close the lid back up and finish cooking it. Okay, and then we're going to start it back up, and we're going to cook it for 6 minutes. So it's going to take a little bit longer because we have to build that pressure back up, but it's actually only going to cook for 6 minutes. That's all vegetables take, is a very short amount of time. My original recipe only called for 1 minute once the pressure has been reached, but I think a few more minutes is necessary, so I go with like 5 to 6. As soon as that's done, you actually pull everything out, and then it says to strain the cooking liquid. I'm not going to go ahead and go through all that process. I'm just going to throw some flour in there and thicken it up and make the gravy. But I will share with you what this looks like when it's all set. Okay, so I have finished cooking it. The roast is out, and I'm straining out all the vegetables currently. Ooh. Gotten all the vegetables out. My sink's full of dishes from cooking and breakfast this morning. But all the veggies are out. The roast is in there. So I'm actually going to turn this back on and go back to the brown rice setting, which is the browning setting, and turn that on. And this should come to a boil. And while it does that, I'm going to make a roux. Okay, so to make the roux, I'm going to use just this little mini blender bottle. This is probably a cup of water, and then I'm going to add in some flour. We'll go with 3 heaping spoonfuls of flour. We'll start with that. And then I just put the lid on, and I'm going to shake that up and get that ready so that we can pour it in once this does start boiling, which it's close. Okay, so I went ahead and added the roux in, and now I'm just whisking it, still keeping it on the high temp so it will start to come back to a boil. You guys can see. And it does start to thicken right away, and then it'll thicken as you go. You don't want it to stick to the bottom or burn, so I just keep whisking. And then you can serve it up. Mine is actually being made for leftover for lunches. so we won't be eating it for dinner tonight, but it'll make a really awesome dinner and lunch and dinner for me tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have any great recipes for the pressure cooker. I would love to hear what your meals are. We're trying to use ours more and more. Just figure out different recipes. I know like my mom makes ribs in hers and like a whole chicken she's done in hers, so we're just trying to experiment with that. But I figured I would share the pot roast because this is kind of like a fail-proof recipe that we have really enjoyed over the last year or so. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!